So that's great. So we can kind of kick off straight away. So have we got any apologies for this evening? Okay, that's all. That's okay. Thank you very much. Any declarations of interest? Okay. Thank you very much. The next item is the minutes. To approve and sign as a correct record of the minutes of the previous planning committee held on the 9th of June 2025. Has everybody had a chance to have a read through these? The items that you'd like to change or highlight, any issues? Okay, could I get to support the minutes? Could I get a proposal, please? Councillor Stainford, could I get a seconder? Councillor Lester, can we go to the vote, please? It's carried. Thank you very much. The next item is a forward plan. Members to note that the planning, development and licensing forward plan. Has everybody had a chance to have a look through this? Is there any items that we need to raise, or are we all happy with it? Can I get a proposer to support this forward plan, please? Councillor Toos, could I get a seconder? Councillor Furman, could we go to the vote, please? It's carried. Thank you. The first item on the agenda be the number 5, which is traffic management. TRO St James Middle School. ECSO Jack Miles was to attend but couldn't make it. Yeah, I'll carry over to Marcus. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I did have a conversation with PCSO Jack Miles. He said he would make it if he could, but clearly hasn't been able to. He approached the council in June, saying that he's spoken to Somerset Council and they've pushed him in the direction of Taunton Town Council. He doesn't have the power to ticket vehicles parked on the yellow zigzag lines outside of schools unless there is a TRO in place. Holy Trinity, which is on South Street, has a TRO in place, which is enables him to ticket cars that park on it. But St James Church School on Cranmer Road doesn't have that in place. In his view, the parking around those school pick-up and drop-off times has almost caused many incidents between cars and children, and it is only a matter of time before a child gets seriously hurt. He's asking for the town council's help to get a TRO put in place, so that he as a police officer can properly enforce the lines and keep these children safe. I have had an initial discussion with the traffic engineering team, traffic management team at Somerset Council. We also met separately with St James School as Taunton Town Council because they had raised some safety concerns around the cycle path that runs through Victoria Park. I don't know if you know. It has a bit of bend as it heads out into the road, so we met with the head and deputy earlier in the year. More prominent signage has been placed in the park along the cycleway, and are looking at ways of distinguishing the two paths, the shared use pathway, to try and make that easier. That's a bit of a side track, but just to let you know. So yes, my conversation with Somerset Council, they said that there are double yellow lines all along Cranmer Road in front of the school, and have said, multiple questions said that this would usually allow the police to enforce without requiring a TRO in addition. And Jack just has come back to me and said, we as the police cannot enforce double yellow lines, only parking enforcers can. The traffic management have said they've raised with the parking enforcement contractor, which is NSL, I believe, so to go out and visit that area. They've asked us to say that perhaps the school should remind parents not to park along there. I'm sure they do. And they've said they understand that the police do have powers to enforce or ticket if they feel a vehicle is parked dangerously. So there's a bit of between police and Somerset councils to powers, but I guess from my perspective, whether you as a committee are happy to support the request for a TRO, absolutely.
Thank you very much, Marcus. Thank you.
Thanks, Chair. I can't even believe having the conversation. I think it's ridiculous that people are trying to say no, it's not my job, not my responsibility. Because if a child gets hurt, the police or traffic enforcement or whoever they can sit and say, well, it wasn't my fault. And support the TRO, definitely. I mean, I don't think I really care whose responsibility it is, as long as somebody's there and tickets them. I mean, there should be somebody ticketing if there's a double yellow line. But as we know, all over Taunton, there's a lot of double yellow lines, but they don't get ticketed. And I don't know if that's something we should be raising more with whoever provides that service for Taunton, because there's problems in a lot of different areas where there is part of the double yellows. Near a school is just bonkers. So I would certainly support a TRO.
That's a lesson.
Yeah, I agree. Complete support TRO. Also agree. Let's just do it, or someone actually. Then there's no ambiguity. It's there and available. All I was going to ask was, obviously, this is this chap's patch, so he's raised it for St James Street. Are we aware this is a problem on any of the other primary schools in the town council area? Because if we're going to do it, we may as well do it for all of them. If there are any others that drop between the gaps. I mean, I live 60 yards from Parkfield School. It's absolute chaos at 9 and 3:30, and no one is paying attention. The school, my kids go there, so I've seen the emails the school sent out. They're just ignored. People don't pay attention. Heaven forbid they have to walk 50 yards further. Do you know what I mean? So that would just be my only request. Definitely support, but if we can, I don't know how we would check what's in place with the other schools. I guess it's fairly straightforward, isn't it?
And then councillor Toots, for Marks.
So I was just going to say, I presume traffic management, Somerset Council will have a map of which areas are covered designated by TRO, so they could provide that information if we told them which schools were. The only other time I've had an issue since I've been in post was there was issues at Nerrill's, and we asked the parking enforcement team to go out and enforce more at that time because it was considered to be causing issues with dangerous traffic. But happy to answer the broader question. Thank you.
Councillor Toots, stay for.
Thank you. It would be interesting to hear the views of the PCSO on what he believes parents should be doing in that area instead. Because if they drive around the corner to Winchester Street, that's side to side with cars normally all the way up. So is the PCA expecting parents to drop them further up on Cranmere Road? I agree in principle. I've been past like every school in the morning, and does look like dangerous, but I'm just trying to understand where parents are supposed to drop their kids on Cranmere Road. If it's double yellow lines all the way up, then the zigzag, and then around to Winchester Street, which I don't know if members know is like
short current.
Yeah. So I'm not against the principle of TRO. Of course, I support it. I'm just trying to understand, I'm not a parent myself. So is this parents stopping, letting their kids out and driving off, or is it someone parking to take their kids into school?
Parking as close as they can to walk them in more often than not.
And sit there at the end of the police.
And then the end of the day,
Be sitting.
it takes longer because obviously people arrive a bit earlier to make sure they're not late and so on. So it's.
But just to finish off that, yeah, I don't think it will do any harm to encourage. I'm not sure if we move the problem around the corner and drop the kids there, I'm not sure the chances of an accident are lessened. You're just moving the cars to drive further around, but there'll still be a bit of I'm not giving you solutions, Chair, sorry.
Going to go to Marcus and back to Councillor Stapleton, please.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councillor Toots. I think when we went and visited the school, I can't remember if they're still doing it or whether this was just during COVID times, but they said they would allow parents to drive in, drop their kids out, and then drive out through the playground. So
There is a playground, yeah, there is a car park there further up, yeah. So there are solutions, I guess.
Councillor Stapleton.
I think this is an ongoing problem in a number of schools, not just about the parking issue, but about the drop-offs. And actually it probably links into a later section on local transport plans. It's very well saying that everybody's going to walk places, cycle places, and not to use cars. The fact is, parents do, when kids are being shipped from one end of the department to the other because there's not usually enough schools. They're not walking, they're not cycling. A new school that's been built in Orchard Grove has no drop-off points. It's got no parking, and it's all double yellow lines. Where are they supporting? So I think a number of schools will have the issue. So Councillor Twos is absolutely right. It's, yes, first of all, the primary focus has to be the safety of the children. But if you're just moving the issue along the street or around the corner, you're not really resolving it. And I think we do have to look at how people are dropping their kids off at school, because they do have to be able to drop them off, especially primary school age children.
I think it's Queens. I remember going there a couple of years ago, and they actually had, you know, a full team of showing where the cars drive in. It was a one-way system. They all drove out. It's really, really safe. It worked really well. I definitely think with this item that I think as a council, we need. I personally think we need to show support. Definitely. I think that's probably priority number one. So to consider to support this, but I definitely think item number two, in kind of looking a little bit deeper into how schools actually organise, you know, a way of, you know, organising this traffic to work throughout all the schools. Because like you said, with Councillor Two saying, just push the problem further along, and there needs to kind of be a solution as a whole town. Is there anybody else with any other points? Yeah. Okay. So I think getting Phil to support this application or this item, to support the traffic regulation order, but also I'd like to add to, you know, if everybody else would agree, is to kind of get a overall idea of other schools, their issues as well. It'd be good to kind of get some feedback on that. Is there anything? Yeah, does that sound good? Yeah. Could I get a proposer? Councillor Twos, could I get a seconder? Councillor Lester, could we go to the vote, please? It's carried. Thank you very much. The next item is it's an application that came forward last month. The Narrows Farm. This is item number 6, 38-25-0191. Names to consider the application in light of further information supplied by the applicant. So this item that came forward to us last month was very, very detailed, but it was a lot of detail, but not much conclusion really. So yeah, it's good that they came back with some more information. One of the things that really highlighted to me was kind of their boxes where they've kind of said this was the issue, this is our solution. They've kind of addressed those individual items. In the other items like the surface water, which obviously when go through, and other things, certain things like surface water design and appearance and the heritage impacts and other things will come at a later stage. So yeah, I'm kind of glad they came forward with this. Have I got any comments on this? Councillor Staple.
Thanks, Chair. Just one comment. I've read the LLFB comments from previously, and until we get confirmation from the LLFA that because they've made changes to the attenuation basins as such, and until the LLFA comes back to say that, and we can say, you know, we're happy with what they've submitted to us, but I'm not a local flood authority person, so I would hope that obviously everything is supported as long as they abide by any requirements by the LLFA.
Yeah.
Because I think it's in there somewhere.
So what we're waiting for is, now this document's been brought forward, we're waiting for a confirmation by the LLA.
The LLFA,
There's a number.
should be in there. Is it in there? There's comments from the LLFA.
Different. Yeah.
Sorry, Chair, I was just going to say there's a number of consultees that have said they've noted some of the things, but they're waiting on further information brought back in due course. I think the ecologist has asked for some further information. The LFA, as Councillor Stainthorpe says, on the 19th. of June has commented and said there are suggested changes to the surface water drainage layout, and further information should be provided clarifying why the changes to the attenuation bank, basin and tanks have occurred, and updated calculations should also be updated with the amendments provided.
Read that first.
So if we go slightly higher up on this, where to the top?
I was just going to say the document what you were sent by that was the section 73 planning statement it is attached in the decisions.
Look at that.
And it does have a
Arguments here. 1 June.
yeah, and that was about the variation of the conditions and wasn't the last time understanding why they were seeking to. So that document does set out in detail each of the why they're seeking to vary the conditions.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you're saying, they have uploaded further amending applications on the 10th of July.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. So one of the conclusions that I did is the planning statement presents a comprehensive case to support the proposed variation conditions. The proposal will achieve a high quality development that we achieve in a timely manner while safeguarding the interests and protected species in accordance with development planning policies. I think with the items having looked down this document, I personally think they have addressed the issues that first highlighted, and obviously it's in their own interest to get those things highlighted. I think as a council, do we want to show support of this, or do we want to comment on this, or do we want to get sustainable?
Thanks, Chair. And until we get confirmation that the calculations have been run for the requirements for the LLFA, because they've made changes to the attenuation basins and the runoff, we don't know if those changes are positive or negative. As I say, I don't work for the LLFA, so we would have to say that on condition that the conditions from the LLFA are met, because we can't say whether they're right or wrong.
How about then we can either do that, or what we can do is we can postpone this item until answers come out from organisation.
The only thing I would say with any comments is we get a limited window to resolve usually, and that would have to be with the agreement of the planning service at Somerset Council. To when the latest will be for the external comment.
Yeah. Okay. So instead of supporting or objecting, what we can do, we can share put comments saying that we're still waiting on comments from the LFA and
Supporting principle.
Yeah, supporting principle, as long as that organisation support their differences, really. How does it sound? Yeah. Okay. So could I get a proposal on that, please? Councillor Staple, could I get a second, please? So Lester, could we go to the vote, please? It's carried. Thank you very much. The next item, number 7, is a local transport plan consultation. Members consider the consultation being undertaken by Somerset Council on the local transport plan. Yeah. So Marcus, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. So you will have seen I emailed this out to all councillors following the Taunton LCN when it was raised. This is open for consultation, closes on the 7th of September 2025. So I thought it would be useful to bring to the committee's attention. But obviously I would urge all councillors to respond individually if they so wish. So Somerset consulting on 3 documents, which is the local transport plan, the decide and provide guidance, and travel guidance. And it's a key document that sets out how they plan and deliver transport across Somerset. The current plan is out of date and doesn't reflect national policy or the challenges they face today. So this will influence their that direction for a number of years. One of the things I did find interesting, which is on page 28 of the transport plan, is about the larger urban areas, of course, which Taunton is one, and the strategy for those larger urban areas, which talks about sustainable first choice bus priority corridors, cap fare bus fare schemes, improved bus services to those major amenities such as hospitals, exploring opportunities for hourly rail services between key localities such as Taunton, Wellington, Taunton, Bishop's Lydeard, mobility hubs. Obviously, we know the transport hubs coming forward, which we're having a role in as a council. Looking to reduce the dominance of motor vehicles and through traffic in town centres. Delivery of priority active travel routes, road safety improvements, including 20 miles an hour speed limit expansion. Delivery of high street improvement schemes. So it's quite an interesting list there in terms of the strategy and priority for Taunton. There's no requirement for you to come to a collective submission tonight. I just wanted to draw to your attention for noting. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I think this is a really exciting document actually for Taunton as an individual. I think it highlights all the things of the probably as an individual I'd want Taunton to actually set out to be really, and yeah, it's definitely got a lot of things going for it. Have we got any comments? Councillor Drummond?
Yes, just to say that yeah, we are still looking to see about improved bus services. Yeah, going into this really.
Councillor Steve?
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, I mean, looking at the content, can't say that I've read it all, but looking at the content, obviously the aspirations are well-meaning, and kind of stop there and say, with the current situation we're in, it's desperately important to have a strategy and important to know where we want to head. It's just, how much of this stuff is sort of going to be achievable. What I would ask is, they're looking for people to consult back. Is there anything the town council can do to raise the publicity of this to our residents and people who live there? Are we allowed to put this on, social media feeds and say, please feedback on Somerset's plan? Because I think the worst thing is when, these things, they happen and people haven't been made aware that they could have had a say. I'm not saying there's going to be a huge rush of hundreds of people who want to comment on it, but just to, be on this committee to try and do all we can to get feedback for the council, so if possible.
I can't stay for.
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, and Deane, councillor to this. I think one thing with a lot of the residents in Taunton is they feel quite despondent, I would say, to our transport in the town and the bus services. If you go on social media, don't get a lot of positive feedback. I think you've sometimes got to make sure you've got your current situation working before you start coming up with bigger and greater plans, because I'm not sure a lot of people have faith in them, and quite often it also involves a lot of money and expenditure, which, given the current situation with Somerset Council, I don't see how a lot of that can happen either. we know the environment's changing. We know there's a lot more people coming to Taunton, but we have to make sure that we try and get it right first before we make big changes. Totally support this going forward, but it's just, how are we actually going to achieve something like this? You spend a lot of money on consultations that never come to fruition.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. My colleague Brian says that we have shared this on our social media, so if you want to piggyback off that,
Excellent.
reach out any local pages, that'd be much appreciated. I think this is used as a document for Somerset to try and get in the background funding from national agencies and things like that to deliver some of these ambitions. It does say that the last one that they did was in 2011, coming to the end of its 15-year life, so they have to refresh it every now and again. So it's that sort of key high-level umbrella document, should hopefully be used to try and key in some of that funding for delivering those priorities that the public that tell you that they want. So thank you.
Councillor Tom.
I agree with that, but when they did it last time, they said it was going to get better. The bus services were getting better, the transport services were better. It got worse. I was late tonight because I used my own car. If I had used the bus, I'd have been an hour late. You've got to get it right. It's a chicken and egg situation. What comes first? Do they get the bus services right to start with and make people change from their cars? My nearest bus stop is less than, what, I suppose 25 yards from my home, which could get me here, but I don't trust it. You've got these flashy new buses on it, but the service hasn't improved. And until you do that, people won't get out of their cars. Sorry, that's what I feel.
Yeah, I agree. So Marcus, so tonight, do we need to, I guess we'll comment on it individually if we want to raise anything, but it's really just an everything. Okay, that's great. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for bringing that. Thank you. The next item on the meeting is 8.1, which is 38-25-0227. Which is full planning permission, erection of a 2-story extension to the side and a single-story extension to the rear and side of 41 Tamar Avenue, Taunton. Let's have a look at elevations as existing. Second from the bottom, please. And we'll go on the proposed as well. Elevations is proposed, 2 more. So, to be honest, could we get this up on Tamar Avenue up on the Google Maps as well? Is that okay? .41 Tamar. Yep.
While we're bringing up, I had a look at this last night. It's quite a thin house compared to the others, it looked like. And I don't have a massive issue. It did seem like the extension would be very close to the neighbours, like the window down the side, the neighbours. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
The extension is going on the right side and going out on the right.
Is it? Oh, sorry. Sorry. There's no change.
If we go back on the proposed again, that'd be great, please. Thank you.
The ground floor, not thing. Yeah, it's the ground floor.
It's to the boundaries, isn't it?
It's pretty close, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's pretty close, especially the
Story to the side, is it not?
it's like 2-story extension to the side,
It's a single to the
a
side.
single extension to the rear.
That's a double, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Also, could I have a look at the layout as well? That'd be great. The proposed layout, the existing layout to proposed layout, please.
Says two-story extension to the side and single-story extension to the rear, so it is worded that it's, thank you, Chair. The proposal, at the front of at the top of the planning application actually says erection of a two-story extension to the side and single-story to the back. But in those plans, it looks like it's single-story to the side and single-story to the back. Is there a
Okay, on
Well,
that.
look at it. Yeah.
Yeah, great. So this is the existing.
That's the first one.
There's a little bit that extends out the landing, I think, and it's because
Is it-
You go ground.
the roof slopes off the top.
Existing, please.
Is it really stairs?
I don't know.
Where's the proper one?
Lovely plan.
I do like all.
Okay, and if we have a look on the proposed ground floors, I think we get. To,
One
One of what? That looks like it's different.
It's quite a lot of difference, a lot of steels going on.
So yeah,
But yeah, building up on the right, on the left. So to create a lobby that we see, entrance lobby,
yeah.
and then all the single extension is at the back to create this lounge area.
Yeah.
It's just a single, it's a single story.
Where's the second story upstairs?
No, it's not. If you go to the, if you look at the,
Yeah, if we go on proposed.
if you go to the, yeah,
There's four.
first floor, existing and first floor proposed, you'll see that it's just a ground floor. It's not
Oh, it's just badly worded.
just badly worded.
That one, yeah.
Elevation as existing, elevation as proposed, please. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just a roof to the left.
Isn't it? Yeah,
Change upstairs.
just, no.
I don't see any issue.
See,
No.
I should-
No, it's just that I was looking for this
I was looking for
small
what
extension.
So Chair, are you right? So that extension, so if we go back to the street view,
Yeah, if we go back.
there's only one side that's changing.
It pretty much is.
To the left as you look at.
One side's changing, yeah.
That's where the carport is.
Mm.
It's just going.
So the extension's going down there,
Mhm.
and if you zoom in,
Yeah.
the house next door's got a window.
Facing,
So if you zoom in, using the.
But it's got no. What's the?
There's no windows on the side of it from the extension.
And the door.
no,
No, there, that, the neighbour's house.
yeah.
Yeah, but there's no window on the side of the extension.
No, but is that not gonna,
You've got the width.
is
of
that not
path.
gonna be
Width
right?
path,
Oh, okay,
You've got,
all
I
right,
think you've
okay.
got, I think you've got a side access.
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the-
as long as you've got 1 metre,
Okay.
that's what planning regs are, and you've got no room to land.
I actually think that it's quite fun. This road and this kind of house is very, very tiny for the houses that are along this road, and the layout of what we proposed was definitely going to improve kind of the layout of this house massively. Councillor Lester.
Are there any comments from the
I
neighbours?
just say there's none.
No.
No neighbour.
I couldn't see any, so.
I think it's right at the end of the road anyway, so
Mhm.
I didn't see any issues with this application. Cool. I think what they're proposing is definitely gonna improve the property,
Mhm.
100%. Have I got any more comments? So to support this application, could I get a proposal, please? Councillor Tully, could I get a second, please? Sustainable, could we go to the vote, please? It's carried. Right, the next item is 38-25-0226-LB, which is a listed building consent works, various internal and external alterations at the Museum of Somerset Castle.
Guessing they're going to be careful. I'm guessing they're going to be careful.
So I was just going to say, obviously, this is a scheme that we've supported with grant funding recently, which you may be aware of. So it's, I think, just consider this on its merits as a listed building application rather than the merits of the.
Box shooter everywhere.
As a property, not the. Okay, so what I'd like to look at. So if we have that, let's go through sections at a time. If we go on the round tower existing elevation, so first from the bottom. It's the heritage design statement. That's on the left hand side with the bridge.
It's what, mate?
No, it's fun.
Well,
If we head back to the heritage statement, please. Third from the bottom. No, third from the top, sir. So it'll be buried. If we were to go down to the conclusion on this, would be great. Thank you. The summary of the heritage impact proposals present a unique opportunity to reveal aspects of the castle historic interior that have been previously hidden from view and difficult for visitors to fully appreciate, while also addressing technical requirements for welcoming board. In particular, they allow for a deeper understanding and sensory engagement with the authentic architecture fabric, highlighting the two distinct phases of the castle's history: its medieval origins and its later Georgian transformation. These two adjacent rooms serve as wider site and offer an ideal setting in which to explore, and indicating on the accompanying plans. Proposals primarily affect elements of the Georgian interior. However, interventions are being carefully minimized and strategically targeted to reduce impact and ensure reversibility wherever possible. Moreover, the works enhance both C13 and C18 fabrics, much of which is currently obscured by currently existing exhibition installation, outdated lighting, and legacy security and lighting infrastructure. Together, by updating the previous approaches to lighting, display, and security, the new exhibition design development by SLD will be set with a carefully considered and conserved backdrop of authentic revealed materials, modern projections and display technologies, with a sensitivity being integrated to showcase the historic fabric while enriching the visitor experience. For instance, on the display case itself, I think just by reading that itself, I think I definitely think what they're proposing is definitely going to improve. I think visitors' experience of the whole place, and also being obviously Museum of Somerset, the volume of people that do come through this property on a yearly basis. Obviously, we want to make it the best it can possibly be. But obviously, it sounds to me they'll be definitely complementing the heritage of the property. So, yeah, nothing really to me sounds bad. I didn't see the issue in that at all. Do I have any comments? No.
Yeah, and the note I made last night was, I don't know if it's relevant here, but I noticed that we haven't had a comment from Somerset yet, their heritage officers or the applicable officers, about what their views are on what Fred has presented to us. But yeah, generally supportive of this. I mean, it would be great to have this in Taunton, the award it is. And just hopefully that, you know, they tread carefully when they do it.
Yeah, definitely. So, on that, would you, I think it makes sense to support the application.
Yeah.
I think it would be a nice comment to say, looking forward to seeing, say, Somerset Council's heritage officers as well.
Did they comment in this instance, Marcus? Would the equivalent officer comment on the application at some point? Yeah.
I think that probably makes sense. Yeah. Okay, so to support the application, but also add the additional comment. Makes sense. Could I get a proposer? Councillor Lester. Could I get a seconder? Councillor Stayford. Could we go to the vote? It's carried. Thank you very much. The next item is 38-25-0228, which is full planning permission, erection of a single story extension to the rear of 177 Greenway Road, Taunton.
Where do the numbers go? I'm trying to picture it. Is that is it town end or the other end? So, yeah, okay. Oh, yeah.
So single story extension to the rear. So elevation is that. We get down a second bit. If we look on the existing west elevation, existing rear elevation, sorry, I didn't see that screen.
Room is ground floor.
It will show the elevation of the property. Looking at number 77.
That's right, in relation, it doesn't look really.
That's existing, isn't it?
Yeah.
If we go back, look on the proposed rear elevation.
Yeah.
I think it
Yes.
was nice, actually.
How much has the depth changed? Can we look?
Yeah, so if we have a look at
Perspective.
To be
we
there.
have a look at the proposed ground floor plan, that'd be really good. Yeah, let's have a look on the side aspect as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comes out quite far.
Well, yeah, because it replaced the little lean-to, doesn't it?
Yeah, if you look at these east elevations. Took those east, you'll see. how-
Because total 10 meters comes out from the existing property, comes out 10 meters. So if we have a look at the existing ground floor plan, let's have a look how far.
Was it how far it comes out from the neighbouring property that's?
Yeah, that's why, yeah.
Great. It looks to me that they've actually filled where that cloakroom is.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
are, yeah.
Kind of all they've done, they've knocked down the kitchen wall and they've just built across into that cloakroom.
Yeah, but it goes out further than
It's
the
like-
neighbouring
yeah,
property. It does go out further than,
So should we have a look at the proposed east
go look at east elevation,
elevation, please? Thank you.
the existing,
Yeah.
and then
The east or the west?
the east shows the side that the porch has been built, the
Okay,
rear porch is on.
I see. So you've got the dive
So you
line
can
of the
see-
existing.
How much further it is out from the
Mm.
existing porch. And that's the line of the neighbouring house,
Yeah,
but it's not massive,
no,
and there's been no objection.
no.
Is there any comments on this? would like to raise? No?
I read, not for us, I guess, as planners, but I heard that he is a carer, so he's going to use the extension for bringing people in who can stay at his house.
Oh, good.
In that bit
And they're all
of
down
extension,
floor.
so,
Easy,
yeah, and I didn't say.
easy access. That's good.
See any issue?
Nope.
So to support this application, could I get a proposer? Councillor Lester, could I get a seconder? Councillor Toots, could you go to the vote? It's carried. Thank you very much. Next item is 38-25-0230, which is reserved matters. Application for approval of reserved matters following an outline application 34-16-0007 and subsequent variation of condition application 38-23-0347 for the appearance, landscaping, scale and layout for the section of Spine Road, associated drainage and infrastructure from the approved Silk Mills junction to Rectory Road at phase 1 part 1B part, Staple Grove, West Taunton.
Waiting for Ed to say. Thank you, yes. So this is the reserve for the first part of the Spine Road, going up to sort of Rectory Road, where it meets in Staple Grove. And there's, within the plan there's lots of diagrams about showing how buses would get put up there, perhaps lorries or mostly vehicles, which all look fine. I did receive a comment on social media from someone asking, how much of the vegetation that's currently there will be preserved. Obviously, some of it will be cut down, but I want to put in the comment that the developer try and maintain as much as possible within that section. But also, I want to go for approval, but to put that comment in there as well.
Is there any items you'd like to have a look through on this?
If we do the refuse vehicle plan, because that's probably going to be most used.
Yeah.
Go for sheet 1.
Zoom out. I think if we zoom right out, I think it's quite big. Oh, what's that? That's the whole page. There it is. That's where the
Yeah, so that's where they come in, and then there's a bit of a slipway to come turn around as well.
they've addressed everything. Any other items you'd like to have?
No, I think that's it really.
Okay, so is there any more comments on this application? Councillor Twos?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, I can't pretend to be an expert on what they're presenting road wise and everything else, but it looks okay to me. I did make a note that this has been submitted ahead of any development, so it's I think it's quite positive that they're sorting that out.
Yeah.
But I think that wasn't if there's a difference between submitting this, getting it approved, and actually doing it before they start but that's just me.
No, I agree with
thinking
you.
out loud. But it is good that they've sought to try and alleviate potential traffic problems and et cetera, before building, or Ed's going to say something different now.
There have been conditions within the other applications to say that this developer should complete the spine roads before
Great.
a level of occupation. So that is in there.
It's the future, I hope.
Okay, so Going by what Ed has said that he wanted to add, I think it fails to support this application, but also add the comment to save as much greenery as possible. That sound good?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so could I get a proposer? Councillor Furman. Could I get a seconder? Councillor Lester, could we go to the vote, please? Carried. Thank you very much. I'll wait for you, Councillor Coote.
No, it's okay.
Sure.
That might be some time.
Okay, the next item is 38-25-0093. Full plan permission, demolition of conservatory and erection of a single story extension to the rear of 55 Staple Grove Road, Taunton. Okay, so if we have a look at, if we go to the bottom two, if we go on the existing one, so there's one at the bottom, and then we'll go to one above that, please. Conservatory,
We've looked at this before.
that's the state.
Thanks, Chair. This came to us in April. It never came to us. It was one that we didn't see. And then it had been passed. It just come back and they're extending. If you look at the original proposed plan, which we had accepted, to the new proposed plan, it does look like the extension is better. I need to just check it.
That's why it looks near, because I wasn't hearing it. Doing it. Ed was doing that.
Yeah, it went swimmingly.
Right, let's have a look at the proposed.
Oh, so it's,
See,
yeah.
and they've changed it, and they've got it out more.
Mm.
That south elevation that you look at. And you'll see it when you,
Sure.
when they go for the new proposed plan.
The revised one.
Yeah.
Yes, the bigger higher.
And I really like that one. I like the extension, because it's long. This one looks a bit.
Yeah.
Chunky. Do you know one?
See, I didn't see this
See?
yesterday. When did this get added?
Yeah.
How did we reach today?
It's quite good because they are keeping two of the arch downstairs wood
I
windows.
suppose you save the.
Loose.
Yes, so I somehow failed to see the revised one because I saw the one we just had up.
Which was what we looked before.
And I disagree with that because it covered up that window there in the middle. The long one would go right across the window, wouldn't it? So I noted, Chair, that the Conservation Officer at Somerset recommended refusal in her original letter. Is that on the original application, on this shorter extension?
On the original.
The original, okay.
Because the most up-to-date document that's been updated is his revised application.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, that's 15 for me. That's probably why it's
That's why
gonna.
they changed it then.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They've
they
obviously read their heritage statement, gone back to the architect.
covered those windows and.
All of the, covered all the bases to make it work.
They've just laid it squarer to.
Yeah.
To a nice footprint, I guess.
What is, what I would like to say, could we go down a little bit, please? Is that room going to actually be?
Office space.
Office space.
Oops.
And from, would we be able to go on the heritage statement that was on the last application? Or what the agreement was?
Design.
Yeah, like, yeah. Conservation officer, definitely. Second one from the top.
That's it. Yeah, it'll open like an attached email.
I was going to say that.
Top outlook.
Use Outlook. Yeah.
Outlook. Yeah, it's Outlook.
went down all of this.
Just down the bottom of it. Just up a bit there, that bottom paragraph, I think.
The assessment of the harm recommendations. As mentioned previously, the principle of the extensions on the rear of the building is acceptable from a heritage perspective. The harm would be minimalised if the extension were to use the conservatory as a precedent, possibly increasing the footprint to a small degree with a pitched slate roof and use of other materials sympathetically the context of the building. As it stands, the application is recommended for refusal due to the lack of information and non-compliance with para 207 on the NBDF due to the character and interference on designated number 55 State Grove Road. The State Grove Road is a conservation area. In the case of the conservation area, this would be less than substantial harm at the low end of the scale. When considering the impact of proposed development on significant design heritage asset, great weight should be given to the asset's conservation. So the items that they were saying, obviously with the pitched roof, we now go back.
Yes, I think I know what they were
Charge things back on the revised, check a few details and then.
I think what they've done now, Chair, they've taken that and they've just where the conservatory used to be,
They've extended
that.
it out and back a bit,
Yeah.
and they put this pitched roof on, and they've done really exactly what was recommended. I
Yeah,
think.
which is good.
Yeah, we've even put conservation roof lights, which is nice. Slate roof, that's the issues with this.
I mean, it's Mr. Trevor Spurway, he's an architect who's applying, so he knows what he's doing.
Haven't got any problem with this at all. It's good that he's addressed that, so thank you. Could I get a proposal to support this? Councillor Furman, could I get a second? Councillor Lester, could we go to the vote, please? Harry, thank you very much. The next item is to comment on license matters received from the local licensing authority. Members can consider applications for licensing submitted for consultation. So tonight we have a total of 2 to have a look through. The first one is MA-59937, which is application for grant and premises license Ludicrous, love that name, all the states Magdalen Lane, Taunton TA1 SE, family friendly area that is applying for a license for live and recorded music, supply of alcohol for consumption both on and off the premises. All activity being applied for Monday to Sunday, 11 AM till 11:15 PM. That's it.
Hey, Jay, I think this is it is Magdalen Lane, and it used to be what was called the Block Cafe, which is recently closed down. I had a quick check with someone who used to work there. There's no residents upstairs or on Magdalen Lane that she's aware of. So given the area, I don't have any issue. It is quite a small, it used to be biddies, not biddies, it used to be Bumbles.
Bumbles, yeah, it was.
So there's not a great deal of room for live music, but pleased to see this come forward and wish it the best of luck.
Yeah, totally agree with Councillor Twos. And that lane seems to have struggled for a while. There's been a few places open and close, and we're going to try and get people down Magdalen Lane. And it does, once you're down the lane, it kind of opens out. So there's a lot of area which probably would be suitable for seating outside and a bit of space. And I mean, I certainly couldn't see any residential properties around that area. So I think it would be ideal for that sort of license.
Perfect. Councillor Tully.
Thank you, Chair. I've no problem with the off licence. With the on licence, I have a problem with the off licence. That means people are going to be taking drink out. They could have been, not to say wrong, but they may have had too much to drink before they did, and then they're going to be take drink out with them. Now, another place I'm party to, we had problems with people with drink in the place that I happen to be in, and I should have declared I'm the church warden at the Minster. We have problems with another place along there in Magnan Street. And I think where that place is in Magnan Lane, the church, it gets very much, it's in close to the facility of the church. So on licence, I've no problem with it. It's the off licence part that concerns me.
Okay. Mark's just showed me as well, just outside the property as well, there's two quite large bins on the walkway up through the lane, which is good. Anybody else have any comments?
Is that what that, when it says for consumption both and on, so that means to take away, it doesn't mean outside of.
That's what I was going to ask you.
No, it's at the tables, is it not? It's to drink and. Great clarification.
I'd say how that states is that you have it on the actual premises, and then also you can buy it and take it away.
Yeah, no, yeah, because I wasn't sure if it meant just
So
sitting
that means
outside.
sitting outside, that's right.
Like, for example,
Don't see the need for
I know that the Starbucks train station one. I think they had a similar thing where you could drink alcohol in Starbucks, but also you could buy a bottle of.
take on the train.
Does that make sense?
It's all about opening the bottle on the premises.
Mm.
Yeah, if it's,
Course,
I don't agree with takeaway. I thought they meant sitting at tables outside. That's.
I think they got it on, the on licence means it's been sold for consumption on the premises or just outside.
Okay.
Right.
The off
Right.
licence means it's
Mean-
Takeaway.
away from
Yeah,
the premises.
That's what we're in.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this is when they say off license, they don't mean, do they mean people will go in to buy, or is this where
Probably
I have a glass of wine, I have a bottle of wine, and then I'm decided I'm going home and I say, can I buy a bottle of wine to take home?
I think it's not takeaways. Picking up a pizza,
Sure.
taking it.
Councillor Paddy?
Yeah, that would be.
No, it means if it's off licence, it literally means taking, you purchase there with probably a pizza and take it away with it.
It's a proper takeaway.
So really, what we like to do then, I think, is to support this, but what we want to do
It's
is
a licence.
question the
The off licence.
off license.
Yeah.
There's a certain.
What's that?
The on licence.
Give us like it. Oh, Councillor Tully?
Sorry, in another, when I had the shop, I was restricted on how many hours on a Sunday I could actually serve off licence.
Yeah.
And I was restricted on us in the week till when I could serve it. I couldn't go any later than 10 o'clock at night, serving 9 o'clock. I question why they allow them to go so late as well.
Mainly because it's in the centre of town,
Centre.
not West Moncton.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you, Jeff, for reminding me about that. So, yes, that premises license, application, the Licensing Act 2003 must be judged on their own individual merits. It might only be relevant in situations where there is a high density of licensed premises in a location where the granting the license might have a cumulative impact, exacerbating existing issues with things like crime and disorder. So the 4 licensing objectives that you should have regard to are prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, the prevention of public nuisance, and the protection of children from harm. I would say as well, there are other restaurants, I think, where you can like buy alcohol and get it delivered through like Uber Eats and things like
Yeah,
that.
because like it's Easy's around the corner from where they're
So,
talking.
if you were to restrict them doing that, then, but just as a comment, thanks.
So it is a pizzeria. It's not like it's not, yeah, big duty.
No, it does say family friendly.
It's a
Yeah.
family pizza.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect people to go in there just to buy booze, if I'm honest, but,
No,
and
It's
also,
Tesco Express is just that was.
yeah, but also I think as well, it that taking the point about, the larger, like, the franchises will be, delivering.
Yeah.
It's kind of a different rule for the little place, isn't it? So that, yeah. That's the choice.
So just coming back again, can we not ask that the licensing authority, when they issue a license, that they take those things into account? That it's very close to a religious place. That drunks can come out of other places to buy their drink. They should be taken into account anyway, but maybe if we just remind them that they have a duty to it.
So one.
Yeah, that sounds like a reason.
So what we can do, we can show support. What we can do, we can put comments
Yeah,
on those listed things. Does that sound good?
that sounds fair.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
okay. So could I get a proposed to support?
Propose it.
Councillor Sully, could I get a second there? Councillor Deane, could we get the vote? Carried, thank you very much. Next item is MA 59847, application to vary the premises license. We received a application to vary the existing premises license for your local 28 Gladstone Street, Taunton TA2 6LY. This premise is currently licensed off license store, and they are currently extend their existing license hour to allow them to sell alcohol to 10 PM 7 days a week. In essence, extending their Sunday trading hours by an hour.
Sorry,
So is that the
only change?
Just 1 hour on a
One
Sunday.
extra hour.
On a Sunday. That's it.
Yeah. Brings it in line with basically the shops, isn't it?
No, this is what I expected. This is what happened to me because I was not licensed as well. So there's no problem with that.
It's an hour. It's, Tesco Express is open,
Oh,
but the chains are all open till.
Yeah, that's right. I wouldn't have
Can't
considered
be.
that it wasn't open till 10 already. Yeah, I know, right?
Okay, so to support this application, you're going to get a proposal, please.
Yeah.
Hey, Councillor Lester, can we go to the vote? Councillor Stainford, can we go? Oh, sorry. Councillor Stainford, can we go to the vote?
Only Judy's allowed to vote.
Just go to the vote.
Councillor Stewart, can you vote?
Sorry.
You ring the
Well,
pizza.
That's carried, thank you.
Far too much fun having this one. Looks good, actually, you're right.
Break some morale.
Yep, exactly. This is this new ludicrous.
Okay, so the next item is submission of comment feedback on behalf of the town council. It's a notification of planning application for the area. As per the 10.1.8 of the council's term and reference and scheme of delegation, the clerk has delegated authority to submit comments and feedback on behalf of the town council to notifications of planning applications in the area. When required and in the occasion where there's an ability of the planning committee to meet within the required deadlines, which is 21 days from the notification. I think the one that got highlighted is this one here. 38, it's the Canton Hall one, isn't it? So 38-25-0214-CNA, which is an application to determine if prior approval is required for a change in use and conversion from commercial business and service use class E into 71 dwellings class C3 at block C, County Hall, Crescent, Taunton. So right now, we're looking at the change of use. Let's have. Should we have a look at some comments? Support the statement as well, would be great. We go on the support statement, that'd be great. Go down to the bottom, the conclusion, that'd be really helpful. Thank you. Provisions as such, proposal would the considerations are being given to all set out in the class and any provision is required. And by a statement of flood risk assessment demonstrated that the building can be converted in residential in a satisfactory manner. But could we have a look at the should we have a look at the layouts? Well, obviously we're looking at the change of use at the moment. But is it a good idea to have a look at the layouts of flats?
Thinking
I think so.
initially, yeah.
Yeah. So if we have a look at we think the proposed existing. Okay, first the second floor plan. If you go down 4, I think where they've not put existing, and they just say first and second floor, then propose. Tower, isn't it?
That's okay.
They're all 1-bedroom flats.
Small, so it's 38 meters square.
Yeah, 37.
That's the next one. Any comments on this application? Any things that you'd like to raise? That's staple.
Well, that's just, I've only looked at just one floor at the moment.
Yep.
All 1-bedroom apartments. But the looks of bits. But just my little bit of concern is that I know these apartments are being built for sort of services, people who work in the hospital, things like that. Not everybody's single. Everybody doesn't have children, and just questioning. Sorry, if you've got a single person or a couple, 1-bedroom apartment's fine, but is there any provision for anyone with?
Okay, so
Or is it maybe on different floors? I don't know.
we have a look. So this one currently is what is this at the moment? This was the first and second. If we go back a second,
2-person.
and what is that? The third floor. Let's go on the third floor then. Go to below that, please.
You told me before, what's that?
I know all.
It's never on the ground floor.
You want the minimum requirement?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay, so you're on the plan, you've got a slightly lighter beige colour, which is 1-bedroom, 1 person, a single person. So your minimum floor requirement there would be 39 square metres. And the ones where you've got slightly darker beige colour, which is 1-bedroom, 2 person, so doubles, your minimum requirement would be 50 square metres. So some of them are.
So some of them are too small.
So the 1-person ones are
But
too
two
small.
of them are too small.
And if you look at it, there's just a divider between the living room and
Yeah.
it makes it studio basically. So it's a studio flat, which
We have a look on the ground floor as well, please. We go back and go down to the ground floor. Thank you.
during those bits.
No, that's right, yeah, I think, yeah, 'cause
Very
you try to
small
scale
tiers.
up bed, don't you?
Very, very small teams.
I think the smallest one I've seen is 36.
Yeah.
That first one on the left hand side, was that 36.16 or that 30?
Is
30, 37.14 is the smallest. That's the basement car park. Okay. If we go on to some comments now, that'd be great. Thank you. Councillor Tully?
Yeah, I think there's a heck of a lot of apartments there, but saying that, I think it's the things that's needed. And I think this is happening in London, it's happening in different university towns. I think it's the right thing. It puts youngsters somewhere safe, and I agree with that. I can support it.
Councillor Staple?
Thanks, Chair. Yes, I agree with making sure that we have great provision for accommodation for students and people working in the hospital and things. But these apartments are below the minimum what we would consider as the required space. Those ground floor apartments, 37 square meters. It's tiny. They don't need to cram quite as many. They just give each room a little bit more space. They might lose one apartment. I know it's all about money and it's all about square footage, but these apartments have to last. We don't want it to be just a dumping ground for people that can't get by their houses. It has to be somewhere they want to live. And the other question that has come up is, I'm sure we should get to some point, is parking and the amount of parking, because it's a lot of apartments. And there won't be any parking.
I think there's where it says the basement car park.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
is there,
but-
is there space per flat or is?
That's what I want to know. It's
Yeah.
19
spaces and how many apartments?
71 cycle spaces.
A day a week each, is it, or?
Hmm.
We have a look on some comments as well. Comment from E. Brown on the 8th of July. Second from the top.
Just going to make a point, actually, sorry, you just reminded me about the parking. So I used to work in Flopsy. There isn't any provision in the current parking for electric vehicle charging as well, just as a
Yeah,
point of what
that's-
we're talking about.
that's busted, isn't it?
Sorry, Chair, I think, I'm not sure about the parking as yet. I think that was 71 apartments, 19 two-bus apartments, not the parking spaces necessarily. I'll see if I can find that information out.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything in there from the fire department. Something like this they would have made some kind of comment on it. And I can't find anything with it.
We head back, please.
Too many apartments there.
We go right to the next one. Keep going to the top, please. Thank you. Fire statement, there you go. There's a fire statement on 15th July, actually. If you have a look.
Yeah, they're too small.
Go to the conclusion as well, and that got the correct. Thank you.
In every instance, I objected on the basis of sizes. Yeah.
There's 14 car parking spaces within the basement and a further 71 covered cycle spaces in the basement of the building, which is accessed via the Crescent.
Yes, Staple.
So, first of all, I understand that if it's people working locally, possibly with their cars. I mean, I think that is a ridiculously low number of car parks, but there will be more than that, more than likely in there. But one that actually does concern me, and other than the cars, is the cycle. spaces. No, it's 71 bike spaces for 71 apartments. Even though I know those apartments are for more than one person. I have 2 bikes. Most people have a few, 2 people generally at least have one each. If they don't have cars, they probably have bikes. Not enough even cycle spaces. The general problem, I think, with this application potentially would be just too many apartments.
Councillor Lester.
I mean, based on the fact that the guidelines have a minimum, many of the apartments we just looked at are too small. I mean, my personal view is the minimum's too low. So, they're, in my mind, a lot too small. But going with the guidelines, if the guidelines are saying you need 39 square meters and most of them are 37, I think they're too small. End of.
Okay, so getting Bill to probably think reject the application due to the inadequate parking. I think for one, so this is number 6. Number 3, which is layout and density of the building. I think also number 2, which is design, appearance, impact on public vision and density. Did you say that?
Read that one again, sorry.
The design and appearance, impact on public visual and density.
The
We're not so much there.
the
From the
comments-
outside, I imagine it's not changing a lot, is it?
No, but the comments, there's been a few comments about, because they're talking about taking down some mature trees.
Oh, I see, sorry, yeah,
So
So that might be a loss of tree.
that's one of the comments.
I think personally number 3, which is.
And it's TPOs on, they shouldn't be touched.
No. I think maybe number 3, which is layout density of the building. I think number 5, which is the loss of trees, ecological habitats. I think number 6, which is inadequate parking, servicing area. I think that's it. Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. Could I get a proposal in, please? Same what? Could I get a second, please? Councillor Lester, could we go to the vote, please? It's carried. Thank you very much. Now, in this list.
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
Oh, right, sorry, thought you put your hand up.
If you have a look at you. Okay. There's one more that, if you don't mind me having a look at, you'll remember straight away. It was the items 38-25-0211, which was retention of building works, etc. Change of use of shop into 1 number dwelling at 2 South Street, Taunton. Retention of works already undertaken, all complete and backward.
Haven't we seen this? This is not the third time we've seen this, isn't it?
I think it's the garage, the building next to the garage.
Yeah.
The garage.
Eventually down.
Already being experienced.
Next to the garage.
Read the number.
Read it.
What's the number?
0211.
Yeah, and you'll remember it when you see it, I think. I don't know if you look that. Yeah, that one.
That's right.
We come along to get up.
Well, it's already done, isn't it? They've already finished it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They keep just resubmitting the application, trying to wear us down.
Change it into 1 bedroom.
Yeah.
A 1 bedroom apartment. Both, everything.
Let's have a look at, I think, existing floor plans, I think, and then we'll go and those floor plans. Is this one where they put the bed like really tiny?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, sorry,
Yes.
I don't mean to not smile, but they,
Well, actually. Actually,
Recommended that the
it's
colour
actually
in-
drawing now, which is good.
Yeah. The logistics of getting into the shower are interesting.
I just want to know where the wardrobes are going.
Okay, and then if we go on the proposed. plan.
What have they changed?
This is,
I thought you put a massive telly in them.
No, it's one of those little tiny things, isn't it?
square meterage, has it changed at all?
No, because the four walls are.
It wasn't, they didn't have a decision previously. This is their third application. And the other two, they've reviewed them.
So it's going to test your minimum sizings.
Oh, yeah.
So what's the
It's the
minimum?
two
for
sto- it's the
for
two story,
bedrooms, I
isn't
seem
it?
to remember.
Yeah,
Minimum
so,
sizing for the bedrooms.
so 2-bedroom, 2-person, those are both doubles, 2-story,
It's the two-story bit that got tricky, didn't it?
2-bedroom, 4-person, 2 doubles.
Mm.
That's 79 square meters, but interestingly, because I think this one's about 50 square meters, isn't it? So that would only be suitable for a 1-bedroom, 2-person dwelling if it was a 1-story. This is a 2-story.
Right.
So actually, this is only suitable for a 1-bed, 1-person, and they've got 2 doubles.
Mm.
That bedroom wall upstairs needs to come down.
Right, so I think really our comments are kind of still the same they were before, really.
Still not enough space.
It's not big enough to be a 2-bedroom.
Think Councillor Staple?
I just don't quite understand, Chair. If the plans as they are now are what they are going to leave, I can't see what the problem is. The only difference in it is that it's open plan, which is common in most buildings now. I just don't understand why there should be any problems with the size of it upstairs.
Councillor Staple.
Thanks, Chair. The square footage of square meterage for two-story apartment that's way below the requirements for 4 people.
Yeah, I know.
It's impossible. I mean, those bedrooms are tiny, and as councillor said, how are you actually going to get into that shower? The logistics of the bathroom, there is not enough space for that to be a 2 double-bedroom apartment. That's a double bedroom, a 2-person apartment at best. Actually, as Brian says, it's if we went by the guidelines, it should be a single person apartment. And we should stick by guidelines. We don't change them whether it's a big developer, whether it's a small developer, whether it's an individual, because it's about making sure that people have enough space and we don't get carried away with just cramming people into boxes. It's not right.
I agree. So could I go for Councillor Leslie and more bounce back, Brian? Yeah.
I was just going to say, I mean, even just, again, I know this is probably broken record, a bit too small. You've got places to sleep 4 people, sit 3 people, and 2 of them can eat, based on the drawing.
And the toilet's going to be busy.
Yeah. It's just too small for what's been illustrated.
Brian?
I mean, I agree. I'm not sure. I think this is where the marketplace is. So if you take out that wall and make it 1 bed, you're leaving people who can't afford it, so they've got nowhere to stay anymore. Do you see what I mean? I mean, I think if you live down where I live in East Reach, you would see where the type of people live in. They live in. So, you know, I understand. I see your hands. Fine. So I know. So what I'm saying is, you know, if you want the applicant to go back again and take the wall down and just, you know, you can do that, but it costs them money every time. I'm not, you know.
Okay.
But as I originally said, Brian, you shouldn't come in first.
It's only a very small point, but it was just to sort of the differentiation between having more square meterage required if it's more than one stories, because you have to think about your fire exit of your upstairs bedrooms. So the regulations are saying that if there was a fire upstairs and you had 4 individuals making their way out of adjoining doors and down one single flight of stairs, it's just.
That's what the fire escape windows are for.
But it's,
So are you saying it's breaking legislation and that's what we should?
that's,
Yeah. I would be surprised if there wasn't, that's quite dramatically. I wouldn't like to say for sure, but I would be surprised because it was dramatically less.
We'll go Marcus, councillor Lester, councillor Staple.
Thank you, Chair. As I understand it, the national space standards are not mandatory nationally. They only apply where they're adopted through local policy, but obviously they are important to improving the quality of the space that people live in. So it's really up to you to balance, as you say, with what your considerations now. Thank you.
So councillor Lester, councillor Staple.
Just going to respond to what Councillor Two said and say, I've lived in places near where you live, and unless we start saying no, in a minute, this will be worth 300 grand and no one will be able to live anywhere. We've got to start pushing back.
That's the
thanks, Chair. I think we have to make sure we set standards. If you start to lower the bar, that's where the standards become. If you start accepting below what we require as standards, that becomes the standard for everyone. And then it becomes acceptable to live in houses that are far too small. And I understand Councillor Two's point. We've all been in accommodation, and certainly as a student I was, where there was a lot of people crammed into a very small space, but it doesn't make it right. And it doesn't mean we should encourage it. And we are here to uphold a standard. And especially if standards are laid out in a lot of cases for safety reasons, not just about, you know, costs and making sure everybody has a nice space to live in. It is about safety. And I do think, you know, we need to uphold those types of standards. That's just the reality.
I'll just quickly add, from when we last viewed this, material consideration, number 3, layout and density, members noted that the proposed plan is not up to technical housing standards and national described space standards. Material consideration, inadequate parking or service areas. Members noted the comments from the highways control regarding the land control over the bin store proposed area. Well, they've actually, if the front of the property is up there, they've actually pressed the bin area, which is great, which is really, really good. I think the parking scenario, I don't think has been addressed. But I think the layout and density is still a massive issue. That's on to Councillor Two.
Yeah, I'm happy to agree that they are. I think what you're doing is you're, you know, there are people that want to come to this country and they want to start somewhere and they can't afford a great deal. So if you're going to make everything like, you know, 1 bed massive, so people put the rent up to try and get their money back on the development, those people that want to get a grip, start on the bottom of the ladder with very, very little money, you know, you're preventing them from kind of doing that in some ways. I think that's the way I see. But if it's not safe, then you know, we shouldn't, you know.
Yeah, and also I think a really big thing as well is what we've done from day one of being this council is that we've always maintained one level. I fully understand things change, and you know, along this whole journey, things will change, whether it's in housing, whether it's different people want to you know, experience Taunton or they want to leave Taunton. But one of the main things is we keep this line, and we keep this line that we agree on. Well, you know, that we see eye to eye on, because I think that's really, you know, when people put planning applications in, when architects do work and stuff like that in this area, they'll go across the board and they go, that got objected, that got proposed, let's work along those lines. We start, you know, kind of greying out those lines. I think we could kind of get a bit some issues. Have I got any more comments? Okay, so I'm gonna say to object this application. I appreciate the fact that they've addressed since our last objection the bin, great. I think there's still the issue with the parking, but I still think the spacing issue is still. If that's the case, is there any more comments? Okay, so could I get a proposal to object? Okay, in a second there. Councillor Stainport, can we go to for against? Against. Very much. Is there any more you'd like to, Councillor Tully?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to, if we'll have to follow this through and see what the planning authority come up with and see if they pass it, then we'll know there's a difference to what we believe and what they believe.
Yes. Councillor Tis?
Yeah, just, yes, I agree, but also what I think the chair said earlier, Councillor Tully, is that there's a principle, so I think that's slightly different. So it doesn't matter if this committee wants to stick to the principle of pushing adequate space, that's good, and I agree with that. It's slightly different to whether it goes through.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? There's still, your point is valid, that this is a value of this committee, even though it may not be upheld when it goes to Somerset. I know it's getting late. The application in the churchyard for the bike stands, which is my world members initiative, is it possible to add general supporting comments to it very quickly, Marcus, or is that it's only a bike stand in the churchyard?
We support it.
It's on the list. It's on that list.
Yeah, it's the very last two.
I don't think it'll make a difference.
I don't think so.
All right. I've lost it.
So yeah,
Everything's shut down.
yeah, shut down. I'll brains. It's locked me out. It's my bad.
Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to do it, Councillor Tully?
Before you start, I have to declare a prejudicial interest. I'm the church warden.
I'm not sure if I do.
Is there a
Might
problem?
be hard for council to, I would suggest to.
It's been supported, isn't it?
Your proposal, isn't it?
Yeah. I just wanted generally some, I don't know, do we need to put support? Can we just?
It's already been supported, I think.
But I think
Oh, is it?
When it goes through the submission, I think the submission's been supported by the clerk.
Oh, has it?
The submission's been supported as it goes through, hasn't it?
Because just all the so what we can actually do.
Really, it's getting late. It doesn't matter. I'm sure it'll be fine.
So these are ones that are outside of the deadline, and if there aren't any comments on them, they assume that the
They're
council's
supported.
made no comments.
Oh, all right, I mean, no comment. I thought it would be that was supported without an objection.
No, unless the councillor has submitted their comments
Okay.
beforehand.
Don't worry, don't
Could
worry.
put in a comment if you wanted.
Happy to comment on it, not a problem.
And obviously it's being funded through the Taunton Town Council Ward Member Initiative Scheme,
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
which would be purely factual, but it would show to the planners that the town council
Fully supported. Yeah.
had supported it with funding.
I think that makes sense on both of those two items. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So that would be 38-25-0172 and item 38-25-0173-LB. Could I get a proposer to support them, please? Councillor Framley, could I get a seconder, please? Councillor Lester, can we go to the vote? Karen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. No, he's doing an overall vote for all of the.
Oh,
Yes. Keep it right on.
Yeah.
We're all packing up and going.
so could I get a proposer to support the overall of this list, please? Councillor Stainthorpe, could I get a seconder, please? Councillor Lester, could we go to the vote? Much.
I feel I should apologise publicly for turning up a week early and setting the alarm off last week.
Oh, did you? Excellent.
So I'm not sure who it inconvenienced, but yeah, I